Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie Esther here, and today's Thursday, so we had a dev stream today, so we're going to talk about that and tell you everything you need to know about today's dev stream. So let's go. So today was an interesting kind of a dev stream. It was a play with the devs where people around the offices were streaming their live play of the game with others around the world, if you happen to be lucky enough to queue up with them, while Matthew commentated. And there wasn't a lot of news. I mean, hey, we had this big teaser trailer come out today. I thought we'd get a little bit more, but not yet. Next week, actually, next Thursday, there's going to be another dev stream. They're going to talk about the character creation of the upcoming chapter. And the biggest news of all is that on Tuesday, August the 28th, the public test build will begin. PTB for short. So the public test build is an alternate version of the game that people on PC only are able to access. And once that comes, I will put instructions on my Twitter and on my community tab here for the channel to allow anybody on PC who is interested, give them the instructions on how they can access the public test build and test out the new chapter and all of the changes that come along with it. So, by the way, are you looking a little peaked? Are you sure you're feeling okay? Are you coming down with something? I think that there's a possibility that you might be coming down with something and be sick on August the 28th on Tuesday. You might have to call in that day. I don't know. You're not looking so good. You might be coming down with something, so keep that in mind. You might get sick on Tuesday or something. Anyway, so the PTB is going to reveal the new survivor, new killer, new map to us, and we'll find out all the new perks and the power for the killer. And we are also going to get a glimpse at the new cosmetics that are coming into the game in the shop. Since there is a theme, they're going to release themed cosmetics that go along with this chapter. So I would expect some Japanese influence outfits for many of the characters. We'll see just who on Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be a big news day, so buckle up. Matthew Cote did specifically address Bunny Fungman. He said it is going to happen eventually, but there's some things that they have to do before they can make that happen. And basically the issue here is that because it is a hoodie with the ears, and then you have the hoodie of the body, and then the way they allow you to customize your character, you put a head on a torso. And I think what's happened here is they need to find a way to lock those elements in place. If you're going to have one, you also have to have the other, just so you don't have like a derpy bunny head Fungman on a different body. So they want to make that all into one piece, I believe. But he said the bunny Fungman will eventually be coming to the game. And he also said that licensed cosmetics, the news on the horizon for that looks good. He said he just got off the phone with one of the partners of the licensee. So, I mean, obviously that's going to be either Halloween, Leatherface, Saw, or Freddy. I think the most likely partner is that he's talking about that he was on this phone call with, and he said that the other party was very excited about the things that they had shown them about new cosmetics they could give the licensed property. I think Leatherface is the most likely one that he was talking about today, but he said that there is movement on this front and they'll go forward with licensed cosmetics as soon as possible. I know they want it to happen. It's just a matter of convincing the partners to allow it to happen too. Because, let's face it, the cosmetic shop is doing fairly well. I mean, they're not showing us any statistics, but I imagine that the cosmetic shop is doing fairly well. And it probably isn't a hard sell for them to go to a partner and say, look, we got people paying X amount of dollars for Shirtless David. You know, if you let us dress up your character in something you approve, it's going to be a win-win for both of us. It probably doesn't take a lot of convincing. But I think Leatherface is the most likely one. Probably will be the first licensed character to get additional cosmetics. And I, for one, really look forward to it because there are a number of things that they could do with that particular character. And the question was asked, would we ever see the charity case come to console? And Matthew said that the paperwork is just really insurmountable to make this happen. and it most likely will not happen. And my belief on this is that Xbox and the Sony PlayStation 4 stores both want to get paid on what is supposed to be a charitable item. If you buy it through Steam, 100% of all of the money goes to the Brain and Behavior charity. And if you sell something in the Xbox store or the PlayStation store, they want to get paid. So you can't really make that work. I mean, people have said, well, just raise the price and then give Sony and Microsoft their cut and still give the $5 to the charity. But all the people who are the streamers who allowed their items to be in the charity case signed off these permissions with the agreement that all money made would be going to the charity. They didn't agree to give Sony and PlayStation money. That's what I think, from my layman's perspective, is the problem. And that's why that they can't get it to PS4 or Xbox, because those shops want to get paid some money, and the agreement between the streamers is that any money is supposed to all go to the charity. So that is where the problem comes from, in my opinion. I don't know, but we're not going to get charity case on console. Now, going forward, Matthew reiterated that they want to keep everything as in line as possible. With anything new, they want it to be available on all platforms, PC, PS4, and Xbox. However, he did say that if a opportunity presented itself, it would not be ignored if it made sense to once in a while do a specific exclusive for a certain platform, which may be the case with what you have seen with the Death Garden masks. I'm hoping that when Death Garden comes to console in 2019, that you console players will be allowed to get Death Garden masks for console if you purchase Death Garden. I'm not really sure how that would work, because I'm not as familiar with the console end of things as far as ownership of multiple games, if it can detect that and unlock something. So I think if they can do it, they would, because I'm sure they want to incentivize purchases for Death Garden. So he kind of did backtrack a bit about saying before, when he said we're never going to do exclusives, we don't want to exclude anybody. He did say if it makes sense, we're not going to ignore an opportunity, which I think that's the right way to go. Business has to come first sometimes, so I don't blame him for that. So we know that the Wraith is going to be buffed in this new PTB and the live version coming out within a couple of weeks. They went through all of his perks and went through all 20 perks in his kit and changed them. They've put Windstorm into his base kit. They've reduced this 0.3 seconds where when he comes out of cloak, he has to put the bell away before he can swing at anybody. So they've tried to streamline that character a little more, which that's kind of a favorite character of mine. So I'm looking forward to seeing him get a little bit stronger. And a lot of people said, well, why aren't you working on Freddy? Because Freddy seems to be one who's really struggling. And they said that they did want to work on the Wraith and Freddy, but the allotted time for changing characters, the amount of work that needed to be done on Freddy was more than the allotted time given for balancing changes. So while they have to put out this chapter, they only had so much allotted time to work on balancing at the same time. So Freddy required more work and had to be backburnered. So we're going to see him in the next mid-chapter patch, which will be 6 weeks after the release of the DLC 9. They talked about Freddy a little bit today, and they didn't really say. They said it wasn't going to really be a nerf or a buff, but more of a rework. So I'm not sure how much they're overhauling this character. We're going to have to wait and see what happens in about 8 weeks from now. But Freddy changes are coming. They said they want to make the experience more fun for both sides to play as and against Freddy. What that means, we're going to have to see, but I think it's going to be more than just simple changes. There's going to be some possibly drastic changes coming along with Freddy. And I know people give the devs a hard time, fix the game and this and that, but we got to remember that these are people. They're doing the best they can. And, they want the game to be good too. Some people are really been troubled by all of this stuff with the Wraith and Freddy toiling. And they don't want to see them down in the dumps. They're constantly thinking about how they can buff Wraith and Freddy. And if you don't believe me, why, well, here's some proof.
Thinking about buffing Wraith and Freddy? I think about buffing Wraith and Freddy every day. Every moment of every day. I can't think about anything else. Every time I try to think about work, I can't. I just keep on thinking about buffing Wraith and Freddy. I try to have a romantic evening with my girlfriend. She's my fiancé now. It was hard. I was trying to think of how I could propose to her, but I just couldn't. I kept thinking about how to buff Wraith and Freddy. It's difficult. I starve at lunch because I didn't make lunch for myself because I was thinking about how to buff Wraith and Freddy. It's terrible. Wraith and Freddy ruined my life.
Just a little fun there at Mr. McLean's expense. I love you, McLean. I hope you don't take offense to that. I just thought that that was the perfect time to put that in. And I love all of the devs. I think they're all great, and they would all be amazing people to hang out with. But I particularly enjoy McLean's sense of humor. And hopefully he enjoys this as my sense of humor and is a good sport about it, because I don't mean any harm in it. I thought this was a hilarious bit, and I've been dying to put this in somewhere, and boy, do I have my spot. Love you, McLean. And then we're going to have all of the upcoming changes to the game. Remember, the Wraith is getting a buff, and then we have some reworks. There's some pallet changes to the smoothness of the pallets, and we have some changes to the interaction of unhooking a person, where you can fake it and not get committed to touching the survivor to pull them off the hook, to do some mind game faking around the hook. So that's going to be interesting. And actually, what you should do, because I didn't really cover this, the Wraith is getting these buffs and these changes. You should go over to my man, The King's channel, and watch this video in particular, because he did a good job of covering the changes that are coming to the Wraith and the pallet and unhook changes. So I would give that a big recommend to watch that. So that's all I have for you today, but don't click off this video. Make sure you watch it to the end for another little goodie. But are you so stoked and excited? Can you believe that we're going to find out what is in this next DLC in just a couple of days? I'm so stoked. I'm taking off the speculation cap. If you want to look at my last video breaking down the teaser from today and all the mask and the sword and the woman and everything, and you can watch that and speculate some more. But I'm just going to kick back and put my feet up and wait a couple of days to see what happens. I'm super excited. You guys know I love this game, and I know you do too, or you wouldn't be here. I am just so looking forward to new content. I can't believe it's here already, and I can't wait to play it. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, and I hope you're sick on Tuesday. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Take it away, Mr. McLean.
Which killer do I think is most in the need of a buff rework? Wraith and Freddy, Wraith and Freddy. Can't live with Wraith and Freddy the way they are. The way they are, Wraith and Freddy.